I thought very important to highlight just how incredible the American tooth fairy is doing.
Why?
Apparently, the tooth fairy is giving about 257 rands.
Per tooth.
$14 a tooth. Big shout out to the American tooth fairy.
Yeah, it's the economy. It's Cyril's economy.
You think?
Yeah, because our tooth fairy has to deal with like SARS and like in general, the economy is not doing well.
I don't know the tooth fairy has to deal with SARS.
Everybody has to deal with SARS.
Even the tooth fairy.
Even Santa. Everyone's dealing with SARS. You can't get away from them.
How does the tooth fairy find the money? Because now it has to pay the SARS. Because if you're paying SARS, obviously you have to say how you're making the income. That way it's taxable. You know what I mean? So tell us, Msizi, what does the tooth fairy do?
I imagine it's the same as influencers. You know how SARS is coming after them, even if they don't get paid. Just if you get a free gift, they're still going to get taxed.
But where does the tooth fairy get the money from to give us the money?
Listen, if I'm being honest, I remember my mom telling me, I think the tooth fairy and Santa they have a conglomerate. They own like a bunch
an NGO.
Yeah, no, a bunch of different companies. They have a holding company. You know? And then they invest into different companies. Santa,
but where do they get the money to invest?
From other people.
Like donations?
Yeah, and like Jesus and like others. They all donate to Santa and the tooth fairy.
Makes sense.
And then they spread it out.
I wonder.
And give to the givers.
Let's find out. A gift to the givers gives the tooth fairy.
Yes.
Let's find out from the kids of Joburg. Firstly, where do you think the tooth fairy makes its income from? Like where does it get the money from? And then most importantly, if we compare to how incredible the American tooth fairy is doing at 250 odd.
Do you remember what yours was?
Mine was like 5 rand. That's why I'm like, wow, this tooth fairy, maybe inflation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. On the other side of 4 o'clock, you'll tell us what the going rate is. What is your tooth fairy? What is the South African, tooth fairy sort of giving for a tooth? And are they fair? Because, if I find out my friend got $50 and I got 5 rand, I won't be very happy with it.
And I wonder if it depends on which tooth. Like if it's your big tooth in the middle, do you get more? Or does the tooth fairy just say all of them are the same?
Okay, we'll get into tooth fairy business on the other side of 4 minutes. So after 4 o'clock, we're giving a big shout out to the American tooth fairy. Yeah, doing big things. Payouts of an average of $14.87. So that's about 250 rands.
That's ridiculous.
That's a lot of money.
From like 3 years old.
What are you doing with all that money?
Tabang.
Also, I thought, okay, cool. What's the South African tooth fairy, looking like? But also in their defense, how do we think they are actually making the money in the first place? Because the tooth fairy is so humble that they don't share those things. Like you'll never see the tooth fairy on Instagram living their best life.
Hey guys, moments of good kindness.
No, exactly.
Welcome back to my vlog.
The tooth fairy just does it and then moves on with life. Mati, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
You've got a theory.
Yeah, so when it comes to the tooth fairy and the amount of money you get for teeth, it's like a bit of a thing for parents that they can use to help the kids try to make their teeth healthy. So with the small teeth, the normal going price is like $50, and the bigger teeth are 100 rand, like the molars. But it also depends on the quality of the tooth. If the tooth is like all fraught and black and it's rotten, then no, sorry, you don't actually get anything.
Okay.
You actually have to ask. You have to write a letter to the tooth fairy and ask for forgiveness.
Because it means you've eaten too many sweets, and now this is now the fruits of your labor.
Exactly. So if they want to earn money from the tooth fairy and
less
get
sweets.
a big reward, less sweets.
That makes sense to me.
You said, Maddie, there that if they don't get something because their teeth are black, they have to write a letter to the tooth fairy.
To apologize, to say sorry for eating too many sweets.
Is there an address? Because I know like North Pole for Santa Claus. Like, do we have an address yet for the tooth fairy?
It's called at the corner of Pillow and Sheet Street.
There we go. Which is exactly where the tooth fairy leaves the money in the first place.
Exactly, yeah.
Matty, thank you so much for those tips. Clearly, he knows the tooth fairy very well. Kezia.
Hi, Thando.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you. Talk to us.
Great, thanks. So I actually experienced my sister with her teeth. So my parents told her that if she puts her tooth under the pillow, then she'll get money. But their mistake was they would give her 100 rand notes and 50 rand notes.
You mean the tooth fairy?
Yes, the tooth fairy.
Yeah.
Them. And then eventually she caught on that she was getting so much money, so she started pulling her own teeth out.
No! No! That's bankrupting the tooth fairy.
Serious?
Yes, she thought that this is a quick way to make money from school. So she would just pull it out with her own bare hands and then demand. She'll be like, oh, I'm so excited.
No,
for
but
the
it doesn't
tooth
work
fairy.
like that because the tooth fairy
Yes.
can see everything.
But get this, my mom says to her, because they stopped giving the money, and she's
The
like,
tooth
oh
fairy.
no, the tooth fairy didn't do that.
Yes.
And then my mom's like, no, the tooth fairy, it's no more working in the suburbs. It's retired.
Tooth fairy is relocated.
Doesn't come to the suburb.
Relocated.
Hectic. Kezia, thank you so much. Here's the thing. You can't bankrupt the tooth fairy.
Listen, do you think it works with adults? Because, I've said to you, there's some times
No.
of the month where I'm like, yo, go rafla.
No, you want to pull out your own teeth.
Surely my teeth are worth more than a child's
No,
tooth.
because like I said, the tooth fairy can see how you lost your tooth, right? If it fell out
Yeah.
as a normal bodily function,
Naturally, yeah.
naturally, not because you, were out partying and then fell on your face. Tooth fairy is not going to give you money for that. You have to be well behaved. Don't eat too many sweets, and no, you cannot pull your own teeth out. It's illegal.
It's illegal.
It's illegal. Tell us, how do you think the tooth fairy makes its money? And also, how much is the tooth fairy in South Africa giving? Tooth fairy is so great that she's kept up with inflation. Apparently in the 1950s, she'd bring 25 cents.
Oh, wow.
And then in American dollars in the 1995, she was giving $5. Now, 2025, she's giving $14.
That's like the opposite of Santa, It feels like back in the day, the presents were bigger and more expensive. And now Santa's going, hey, listen, the economy is tough in the North Pole.
No, I disagree.
Huh?
Santa, sure, the presents are smaller, but they're more expensive. You know what I mean? Like diamonds.
Okay, Santa's getting you diamonds.
Yeah, that's what Santa's
wow, you
doing.
got me socks last year.
Here's my thing, though. Sometimes the tooth fairy is a little bit late. Like, she's not punctual, right? Where it's like, I lost my tooth last night. I wake up in the morning and tooth fairy hasn't tooth fairied. But there's a myriad of reasons as to why this happens. There's something called fairy flu.
Okay,
It's very common.
okay.
Injury. She might have broken a wing
Oh, from all the flying.
from all of the flying. And sometimes it's like the pets in the house who that grab the tooth fairy as she arrives.
Okay.
Then the most important one is parents sometimes don't sign the permission slip.
Because she can't enter the house without permission from
Correct.
the parents.
So if, for example, young one who's listening, you wake up and the tooth fairy's done nothing with your tooth, the chances are the people to blame are your parents because they haven't signed the permission slip.
Yeah, I also think that the tooth fairy likes anonymity, unlike Santa. Santa's always hanging out at a mall for no reason on the 24th. But the tooth fairy is like, I'm going to give you this. I don't need any praise. I don't need any glory.
But why are you slamming Santa?
No,
I
because-
think the two can coexist.
Nah, but Santa sometimes is just a bit
But Santa also always looks different, eh?
greedy. It's the
Like
climate.
depending on where you go.
It's the lighting. For his is quite dark. That's why he appears quite dark. And then there's
Sometimes
a lot of
his
light.
lights at 4 is more.
The one in Santon City, when he gets to Santon City, the lighting's quite bright.
Aha.
And I guess they feed him quite well there
Okay,
in Santon City.
makes sense. Ashley, good afternoon.
Hi, Thando.
How's it? Talk to us.
So, personally, my thoughts, the tooth fairy should be leaving the cost of the dental appointment under the pillow.
So roughly how much is that?
800 rand.
Well, dentists are pretty pricey. It depends which dentist you're going to, but easily a consultation is like $1,200. So, if they could help the parents out and leave us that'd be great.
Ashley, basically, you want to take the money that the tooth fairy would have left the child.
100%, and send the child to the dentist to get their teeth sorted.
No, Ashley, don't do that to the child.
100%. No, 100%. It's a rough economy out
But
here.
it's supposed to be, like somewhat of a reward for growing pains, Ashley?
But it could be a reward for the parents
I
for all the
guess.
teething issues that child had.
Literal teething issues. Ashley, thank you so much for the call. Sarita, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Thando and team.
Talk to us.
Okay, so my son had a few tooth fairies, and he got a good sum of money, 600 rand,
Wow.
for the first 2 teeth that he lost.
Wow.
So I think that's a very high price to pay for the first 2 teeth to lose, but yeah, we banked it. So
Do you reckon
it's
it
in
was-
a savings account.
Was it 300 per tooth? And do you think it was the same? I mean, it was the same fairy, obviously.
Yeah, they visited Grandma and Grandpa's house, and then they visited our house.
Yes.
And yeah, so they visited a few houses.
Okay.
Yes. Everybody was excited that it's the first two teeth.
Yes.
And
Wow.
yeah.
Sarita.
And then 2 weeks later, we had the same thing, but it wasn't the same amount.
What is the
Let's
quality?
say.
What
it
is
gets
the
quite costly.
What was the quality of the teeth? Did you see it, Sarita? Because it's very important.
Yes, so that's very well maintained.
Okay. And I mentioned that because
the kids only eat sweets from a Friday to a Sunday.
okay, good kids. And I mentioned the quality because a lot of us may wonder what the tooth fairy does with the teeth.
There must be a heck of a lot of them.
There's many uses, but the most important use is she uses them as bricks
For what?
for her fairy castle.
So she lives in a tooth house.
Yes. That's why it's important.
Oh, the quality is important for stability. Must be strong
Correct.
teeth.
You can't now give the tooth fairy. That's like where she lives.
No, you're right.
You know, it's a roof under her head, and then you just eating sweets away. Not fair. Not fair at all. More on the tooth fairy next.
947 Drive with Thando.
This is 947.